Hello. Thank you to the volunteers for all the organization. Everything is great. Okay, when you think of superheroes, what comes to mind? Maybe Spider-Man, because Rishi just mentioned it, but what comes to mind? Usually you think of strong men and women, maybe a bit mysterious behind a mask, wearing a cape, very fast, agile. They all have the same objectives. They all share the same objectives. They all want to keep people safe, to make sure the world is just, is fair, and they want to bring diverse groups of people together. They want to create unity. They all strive to bring about peace in the world. Now, what if I told you that real superheroes don't look like Wonder Woman or Thor, Spider-Man, Black Panther, but that they look like teenagers currently sitting down, not wearing any mask, but some of them wearing glasses? Yes, what I'm saying is that you are the real superheroes. On average, the 5,000 students of this school speak or learn 4 to 5 languages. 4 to 5 languages. Only 3% of the world population can do the same thing. So this is rare and impressive. But even if you told me that you only speak your mother tongue and that you're learning one language at school, like Spanish or Tagalog or German, I would still be confident that you are all better superheroes than Spider-Man. Why? Why are language learners the true champions of global peace? So before telling you why, maybe I should explain why I'm here in front of you, telling you about peace and languages. So my name is Jade. I'm originally from Paris, France, and I work as a diplomat. I work at the French Embassy in the United Arab Emirates. I am the attaché for French language and linguistic cooperation. You may have been to an embassy before for visa purposes or to renew a passport, but embassies are a lot more than that. An embassy is basically, it represents a country, and it makes sure that this country maintains harmonious relationships with other nations. So by promoting cooperation and by strengthening ties between countries, embassies are here to avoid conflicts, to avoid wars, and to use the country's strengths for the benefits of the world. For example, at the French embassy, we have lots of departments, and we have the health departments. And in the health department, they will make sure that Emirati scientists and French scientists will cooperate on vaccines and medicines so that they can make new discoveries together and that their joint discoveries will help the rest of the world. So that's the idea. And in an embassy, you have many departments. So right now, if you're passionate about sciences, maybe you can work there in the future in sciences. There are also economics, politics, trade, environment, culture, everything. Out of all these sectors, I chose languages and education to promote peace in the world. So what's the link? Languages for peace. Why? Well, first of all, languages are a great doorway into other cultures. A language is a country's identity. It reflects its traditions, its history, the way its people think. So whatever language you're studying now, think that each language is like a ticket to participate in the culture. For example, if you're learning French, you will learn a lot of idioms about, a lot of expressions about bread and dogs. Okay. And the more idioms you learn, the more you will realize that bread occupies a very central place in French people's lives. And dogs as well. French people are obsessed with dogs. Actually, fun fact, in Paris, there are more couples with dogs than couples with kids. And you can know this without even traveling to France, just by studying the language and seeing the patterns. The same thing is happening to me because I'm making a lot of friends here who speak Hindi. And my friend Rohit told me recently, he translated a proverb for me. So forgive my pronunciation, but I think it's Atiti Devo Bhava, which means guests are gods is the idea. I don't know exactly, but is the idea. And I've never been to India, but just him telling me that, it shows me how important hospitality is to Hindi speakers. Languages are also a great antidote, an antidote against stereotypes. For example, a stereotype against French people is that we are rude. So the stereotype may come from the fact that if you have a conversation with a French speaker, the French speaker may start his sentence before you can finish yours. So the French speaker may interrupt you. If you haven't studied French or if you don't know anything about French, you will be offended, and rightly so. You know, this person just interrupted you. But if you study French, you study the rhythm, and you will find out that turn-taking is the milliseconds between the end of your sentence and the beginning of my sentence. Turn-taking in French and in Italian is the shortest in the world. So it's not even a conscious thing, it's part of the rhythm of the language. And if I waited longer, French people would find it strange. So it's just part of the rhythm. And actually, the other thing happens if you go to Finland. In the north of Finland, turn-taking is one of the longest in the world. So imagine you're visiting someone in Finland, in the north, you go to their house, you knock on the door, you say hello, the person opens the door, they welcome you, they make some tea in the kitchen, they gesture to the couch, and 15 minutes later, they will say, hello, welcome to my house. So same, you may get a little bit impatient or you may get a little bit annoyed, but it's part of the language. So here, language is key to mutual understanding, to having a positive attitude, and to having less prejudice. A study from the United Nations educational organization called the UNESCO has shown that when you expose students to various linguistics and cultural frameworks, they develop a more holistic and a more empathetic worldview. I will give you an example. If you learn Japanese or if you learn Korean, you will see that these languages allow you to be very formal and very polite towards the elderly, even someone who's a year older than you. Imagine if at school you had to address someone older than you as Your Excellency or something like this. So you will see that they really respect people who are older and wiser, and that they really take care of the elderly. This can be something that you have in common with them, that your culture has in common or that you respect. So in turn, you will respect the Japanese even more. You will be able, you will be able to put yourself in their shoes, and you'll be able to empathize with them. So languages make you more empathetic. They also make you much better at decision-making and critical thinking. There's a famous professor at the University of Chicago called Boaz Kizar, and he discovered the foreign language effect. The foreign language effect is the fact that when you speak a foreign language, the rational part of your brain takes over your emotions. So, for example, if you're anxious before a talk, maybe if I was speaking French now, I would be very anxious, but I'm okay in English. So when you speak a foreign language, you're less anxious, you're able to speak more rationally, you're more objective and better at decision making. A lot of employers look for candidates who speak a foreign language, especially for jobs that demand very quick thinking. For example, if you work, I don't know, in finance, and you have to decide very quickly if you're going to buy or sell stocks for millions of dirhams. Well, imagine being able to switch on your superpower, and all of a sudden you become more rational and more objective. Part of the foreign language effect, there's also something called the bias blind spots. And it's something that we're all guilty of, even if we shouldn't be proud of it, but it's a subconscious bias. It's the idea that we are less susceptible to error than others. So if someone else makes a mistake, I would not have made the same mistake. In other words, it's the idea that other people are stupid, but you are not. Of course, it's not conscious, and we're all trying to work on it. It's just a bias. And somehow, when you speak a foreign language, you're able to distance yourself from the way you are, and you're able to see things more objectively. So this bias is punctured when you speak a foreign language. It makes you more modest. You're going to stop feeling superior to others. It brings you on the same level. So languages don't just allow you to discover other cultures, they also help you learn about yourself, be more open-minded, empathetic, modest. You will not judge others, you will give them a fair chance. And so giving others a fair chance, being in a fair world, being united, these are the same objectives that I mentioned earlier, the objectives that the superheroes have. The difference is that you are real, so you can actually do something. That's why out of all the different things I could have done at the embassy, I chose languages and education, because I think you can really make a mistake also, but you can also make a difference, sorry. So you may tell me, okay, Charlotte, there are 7,000 languages in the world. How can I learn all the languages and be a better superhero? You don't need to learn all the languages in the world. You can just be curious. So my advice would be, if you meet someone who speaks a foreign language, just be curious and ask them, oh, how would you say that in your language? Or what does that expression mean in your language? Same, do the same as my friend Rohit. Tell them about your expressions, your proverbs. And if you're with someone foreign and something, a gesture, a click of the tongue, an attitude, something bothers you, just tell them, just ask them, does that mean anything in your language? Because in my culture, I feel a bit uncomfortable. Or just tell them, open the conversation, start a dialogue, build a connection. So please use your superpower. Shukriya, shukran, merci, and thank you.